shit at the pot.
He stepped up his head.
Niggas be broken, be sober, but still talking shit like they got it.
Fumbles the football and the
They say that
Eagles
they
have
got it.
it.
Some money, these niggas gon' say that they got it.
Oh my God.
Get out with the key to success, and these niggas gon' blame it on talent. They don't wanna see you win. They don't wanna see the race. You don't wanna see a bitch caught up in the stars like she out of space. Mention that they kinda at the mention, and I'm running out of space.
Yo. Welcome to another episode of the City of Brotherly Love Sportscast. I am Dylan.
I'm Blake.
And we'll just get straight into it. First, before we start, just want to do a few shout-outs. Once again, shout out Heart of Philly. Get all your gear. He's making some good stuff. We got some gear coming on the way. He's got shirts, hats, wristbands, all the goodies. Another shout-out to Derek. My boy Derek Galvin. His name's Death by Bananas 3. He's streaming. Catch him on Twitch and Facebook. He'll grinds Call of Duty 4 or 5 times a week. Hit him up, follow, subscribe, do what you got to do. He's a big supporter of this sportscast, and we're going to show some love as well. So getting into the podcast, first thing we're obviously going to talk about is the Eagles versus Cardinals. Solid game. Showed up in an L at the end, but there's a lot of good that came out of that game for sure. So first thing I'll ask my partner Blake is, what did you pull from that game, both positive and negative?
Negative, definitely in the slow start. Looked like it was going to be ugly early, so thank God they got back in it a little bit. Positive, I would say, has to be Hurts' play. First 2 drives were shaky, but right after that, he really settled in. He's the first QB since Vic to go for 300 passing yards, 3 passing TDs, and 1 rushing TD since Vic. So it was nice to see him. He could control the game a little bit with his legs. He didn't do it a lot. There were certain plays, but it wasn't as to the extent as it was against the Saints, where he was bursting off bigger runs and extending more plays. So that was my positives. My negatives, how about you?
Yeah, obviously, the biggest positive out of the game was obviously Jalen Hurts, especially in the first half after, like you said, the first 2 shaky drives. He gave up the safety, which you can't do that. You can't. That was just an easy safety to give up, and then almost a pick 6 that happened on that drive as well. But then, after that, he was pretty damn good. He ended up throwing 3 passing touchdowns in the first half, due for 177 yards, going for 12 of 18. So, the first half was undeniably the best QB play we've seen from a quarter on the Eagles this whole season, easily. Yeah. And then on the negative side, the defense was atrocious in the first half. It couldn't stop a fly. DeAndre Hopkins, I predicted before the game he was going to end up 200+. He ended up with, 169, I think.
Yeah.
But then the second half, they really turned it around. And then offensive line still, just like Matt Pryor shouldn't even be a player in the NFL. Watching him play yesterday.
Yeah, dude's horrible. But, the defense wasn't good in the first half. They were way better in the second half, but they still got turnovers. They got how many? 2? 3. They got
Marcus
an
Epps
interception
in the end zone.
And 2 fumble recoveries.
Mm-hmm.
So those were huge, especially the one was off the first drive at the beginning, and it was Hopkins' first catch of the game. And
the fumble.
Was that Jaquette? He punched it out.
Jaquette ended up having both forced fumbles in the game.
Both forced fumbles, and he smacked that one out, though. And then they were going to score on that drive. No doubt about it. They were getting 6 easy. And he punches that out, saves the drive. I don't think we did anything with that, obviously.
No, that was the safety drive.
That was a safety right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then they scored right after that. And it just starts to looks like it's getting ugly. They scored how many straight? 19?
I think 19 straight. Yeah.
Something because of or 17 or something. I don't know how it worked with the safety, dude. It was just ugly.
Yeah, it was weird. Definitely weird. It's just it's notable that the Jalen obviously has his poise in his heart is definitely praiseworthy. He's definitely trying his hardest, and he's playing pretty damn good. But there's still just things around him that aren't showing up, like things that they could have changed yesterday that would have won them the game. Like as we've talked about previous weeks, like Miles Sanders has 12 runs in the first half, rushes the ball 12 times in the first half for, I think he had like 52 yards or 53 yards in the first half. And then he touches the ball 5 times in the second half.
He had a slow start to begin, though. He was like, because at one point, I think it was only like 10 carries and it was like 30 yards. So a lot of that, though, was the O-line not opening up. But I was even saying it, like, he bounces around sometimes too much. And that's not all him. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But there was one point, I think it forced a 3 and out. Or maybe we went for it on fourth. I forget. I should write it down. But he could have picked it up if he would have just lowered his shoulder and ran forward. Like, he had space in front of him. And instead, he was worried about bouncing around someone and trying to get the first that way and maybe more. He could have just picked up the first, got it, drive would have been extended. Instead, pretty sure they tried to run it again next play after, and he gets stopped at the line and we punt. Can't be bouncing around like that. I know sometimes you got to, but he was doing it a lot yesterday, I feel like.
He was. I think now he's just trying to do too much. Yeah. Especially as a running back, if you're going to start off 10 for 30, you realize you're getting nowhere. That offensive line's giving you no holes. You're going to try and do more to try. But
Doug wasn't even going away from it. You know what I mean? Like, he was sticking with it. Maybe that's the game plan for Hurts: run the ball, pound the ball. I mean, Hurts can throw clearly. There's certain times where he's had bad throws, but that's any QB. His arm strength still kind of looks a little I was arguing with somebody like, no, I'm not going to nitpick because Hurts played great. His performance yesterday was pretty special. I'm not going to call him a special player yet, like some of you are. I'm going to pump the brakes on that. But it was like a special performance by far. And he played good. He almost willed us to a win, dude, at every point in the game. We should have been up at one point. We were tied 26-26, but the hold was poop. Jake Elliott's poop. Special teams is poop in general. That was another thing. The block punt led to. That was when the game started to get ugly.
That's when it started.
That's what it was. It was they scored and then the block punt. But it's like the right before Quiz Watkins ran that screen in, that little quick pass, dump off him, follows blocks and ran it in. Right before that, you had Reagor one-on-one with Pat Pete. He burnt him, dude. That was probably the best we've seen Reagor get away in the pocket all year. Both the Saints game and this game was the best. They just can't get Reagor going, and they can't get on the same page together yet. Once they do, I think it's going to be scary. But you can't tell me. I know the end zone's only so big, but he still had at least half the end zone, and he could have led him a little better, or he could have got the throw out sooner, and he did neither of those two things. That's something he just has to work on. You know what I mean? It's not. No, they still scored. It's not hating on him. I was arguing with somebody at that time, though. He has to get that throw out sooner. I'm not saying Wentz would have hit that because probably with the way he's been playing, he's been gun shy. He probably wouldn't have. But you got to get that out sooner, and you got to lead him better because Pat Pete, he had 2-3 steps on Pat Pete. I have the screenshot of that picture. There's a whole gap in between them, and you let Pat Pete make up that ground because the ball was underthrown and because you didn't release it probably a second sooner than you should have. Yeah, and that has to get out. You got to get Reagor going, too. He's your first overall pick.
Absolutely. And, even especially with talking with multiple, really big Jalen Hurts fans that I've been able to talk to the past, today and yesterday, is that, even knocks that they have on him is, would be his deep ball accuracy, for one, obviously. But that could grow over time depending on how he develops his arm strength, arm accuracy, everything like that. That could depend how much his deep ball accuracy gets better. Another big thing is he's trying to phase straight through his legs sometimes. You know what I mean? He, instead of making 2 or 3 reads, he's making the first read and then just using his legs. And that can probably only take you so far. And it's only going to take him so far in the NFL. But just he has the assets. He's not no Russell Wilson, but he has the assets to get to the ability to be like Russell Wilson if he can become more of a pocket passer. You know what I mean? Rather than depending on his legs to be the biggest capability that he has. Then I think holding on to the ball. He has 4 fumbles in the last 2 games. I understand he's only lost 1 of them, but still, I think he had 3 yesterday. He didn't lose any of them, but it was still, you still have to be able to hold on to the ball. It's just luck that nobody was there to be able to pick it up.
Yeah, he has to be better with that. Same with the handoff sometimes. That's where a lot of it comes in, on guess when he's reading, like going through like an RPO or whatever you want to say that is, or like the option, and he's going through it and he's going to hand it off. Or sometimes maybe that's just him and Miles, or maybe that's just him not holding the ball too much. But and he's never like, I know you're not saying legit pocket passer, like more Russ, but I don't know if he'll ever be that. We don't know. We'll see. He needs to. He's fine with using his legs, but I said that too. I said that right away it was like the Packers game when he came in. I think I said that on that pod. I said he's going 1-2, bang to his feet right away.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what it's gonna be this year for him at least until he's more settled in, and they're gonna have to figure something out because there's still no tape on the kid.
No,
you can say there's 2 games. He played 2 games. Oh, it's not enough tape. It's usually at least I say 4 games, and then you see the trends and you see what teams are doing. Yeah. And either way, I think Hurts is going to adjust no matter how defenses adjust. Him and Doug are going to get it going. That's especially if he's the starter next year. Who knows? But I'm fine with him using his legs. But yesterday you saw he was more kind of like he still got a decent amount of rushing yards, but he was still more limited on certain runs. Like he had a few big ones, but it was more so. Even the ones when he was just trying to get out right away, he was barely getting out. Their defense
they definitely controlled.
Defense was honestly just swarming him too. It was and the defense, like we said earlier, they didn't start good, but for not having any of your corners, literally guys off the street once again, you're missing your starting safety. Epps played pretty good yesterday too. Yeah, honestly, he had a big hit over the middle, and he had the pick in the end zone. I mean, he's not going to be perfect, but some of the guys are filling in nice. But defense is not good at all. So for what Schwartz has to deal with, there's going to be games, especially when you play they're the best red zone offense in the league, the Cardinals. So when you're playing them, dude, you're going to expect them to score. They're going to put up points, and you're going to have to match them. And for us to almost match and even beat what they did with, 1, having less weapons, 2, having a really banged up team, our 13th line combination yesterday, and the defense, like I said, they're not healthy. If you had Slay, I don't think Hopkins is going for 150, honestly. I think maybe he goes for 100. He's not going to DK Metcalf Slay. No. It's not going to be Devontae Adams. Hopkins is the best, but I think Slay would have played him better. I think he would have played him way better.
Yeah, especially like that one catch Hopkins had, the 50-yard catch or whatever. He just absolutely mossed like 3 of our defenders. I think Slay would have probably been able to get up there and bat it away or something.
And the touchdown was amazing. It was like right on his back shoulder. I mean, Jaquette was there, but still,
he's just a different player.
Catch. No matter who you can kind of do, but you don't know. Maybe Slay's in there. Maybe Slay gets a punch. He's a more experienced guy. He's a vet. If he's on that play, maybe something else different happens. So I think it would have been people would call me crazy, but I think if Slay was in, could have been a different outcome maybe because Hopkins made a few big plays clearly, and he was kind of silent at first. He was silent the whole first half, except maybe 1-2 plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just this big thing. I just want to see this. I want to see this team do more in the second half of games, for sure.
That's what we used to be bigger second half team too.
We were a second half team instead of a first half team. Now we're a first half team and nothing in the second half. 6 points yesterday in the second half. That's it. Yeah. But I mean, obviously we can sit here and obviously I'm going to give all the praise to Jalen for his first 2 games in the NFL. GG's to him. He's playing us hard out. So that's obviously he's definitely like Doug coming out. He just came out today and named him the starter instead of naming him the starter right away for next week against Dallas. But so leading with that, before the game yesterday, the report came out stating that Wentz had 0 interest in being the backup in 2021. How true that report really is? Did Wentz actually come out and say that, or is that a report that someone made out there? Who knows? But where do you see that coming into play, and does that affect Wentz, what they decide to do with him, or what do you think?
See, he comes out, he says that you got everybody posting it. The first person I saw, I think I woke up and saw it right away, was John Clark from NBC posted it. I don't know exactly where it came from. And then I see it and I'm like, well, I'm not shocked. He's not saying he doesn't not want to be here and fight for a spot. He's just saying if the trend continues and Jalen is the starter, then that means there was that's even into the offseason. Say they are like, oh, Jalen's my QB. That's what they're pushing in the offseason. yeah, he's not going to want to be the backup. What's the point of him even staying and trying to fight? I'm not trying to be that guy. Yeah, I mean, this was your team. You should. It doesn't look good if a leader says he wants to be traded, this and that. But at the same time, if they're already pushing this guy and this is their future, and maybe the locker room likes him and the younger guys like him more because he came out of the draft. Reger came out of the draft. Miles came out last year. You got Quez. You got John Hightower. All these younger guys might just want to play with him more, you know?
Yeah.
It might seem that way. It might become a locker room thing too, and these guys might be playing for him harder, but might like him more, might want him to be their starter. Hate for it to come down to a situation like that, but so Wentz might even realize the truth in this situation. He might not want to be the backup. Well, he's not going to want to be the backup. Even if he's making all that money, people are like, well, you could give me $30+ million to sit on him. This is his profession. He got paid this money to be the franchise QB here. You think he wants to sit there and be a backup and collect that paycheck? No, he wants to play. It's like not even logical that people think that way. Like, are you stupid? Like, seriously. Like, I don't get it. So he's a human like any of us. You would feel the same way. I would feel the same way. People are like, oh, I would stay and fight for my spot. You don't know what the situation is yet. He never said he just wants to leave. He said if this trend continues, he is the backup. He wants out. So what? Whatever. So be it. If Hurts is our QB going forward now, cool. We're all going to wish Wentz the best. Why are we even going to get mad and waste our breath about it if we have Hurts and we're all satisfied with Hurts now? I'm not saying me and you are. I'm fine with it. So are you now. But I'm just saying we're both fine with it. But I'm just saying it's like just putting ourselves in other people's perspectives. Like, who cares what Wentz came out and said at this point? I love him. I still want – we'll get into it later when we do our Christmas special topic. But I still want him to fight for his position. I want it to be an open comp. But I don't know if it's going to be that way. I really don't. And you had, like, Rob Motti come out, and he said – he knows Carson, or I don't know if he knows Carson, like, actual on that level. I'm sure he interviews him because he's in the Zoom meetings with Doug and shit. But
yeah,
says about the how he opened all these charities and businesses, established himself in Philly and South Jersey. Like, he started that Kingdom Crumb and all that stuff. So, of course, he's so involved with the community already. Why would he want to leave, you know? That makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, that report had to come from somewhere. Eagles PR or someone had to release that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where did it come from? And you heard them, I think right after the game, they asked Doug, and they said, well, Carson's been a great pro. He's been engaged. He's been helping. He didn't deny it. He just said he's like, I understand where he's coming from. It's a very frustrating situation. Doug didn't deny it. So It might be true. I'm not saying it's 100% true, but there's probably some truth to it. I'm just playing devil's advocate, but that's what I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, there's no shot that if I'm making that much money, I'm going to sit here and be a backup. And that's just the truth. And then, like you state, like, if the Philadelphia fan base as a whole is so satisfied with what they're getting from Jalen Hurts, you should be confident that Wentz is going to either be the backup or be gone next season. You know what I mean? So, like, don't sit here and, like, we know Wentz is known to be the good guy. Like, he's a good dude, a genuinely good dude. So if any report comes out stating that he's, like, being an asshole or he's not helping Jalen, like, I wouldn't believe that report one bit, because there's multiple video of, like, after the loss yesterday, him, like, got his arm around Jalen, like, even teaching him shit on the iPad after the game already ended, like, teaching him stuff throughout the game, even just to try and maybe if it's even just, like, teaching him reads or things like that. Like, I genuinely believe he's just a good dude, whether people believe he's a good NFL quarterback or not. He's a genuinely good dude. So I don't think that he would come out and say, like, nah, like, fuck that situation. I want the fuck out. Like, I'm not going to help. You know what I mean? But I think if they were to come out and say, like, Jalen Hurts, you are the starter for 2021, Wentz is going to say, okay, I don't want to be here. And it's happened multiple times in history. Like, and that doesn't make you a bad person for wanting to go play somewhere else, because you want to be the guy. And if you're getting paid that much, you deserve to be the guy. I mean, realistically, in my head, I would want an offense where they could coexist, because I like Wentz a lot. And I think what I'm starting to see from Jalen could be very great, could be the beginning of something really good. So an offense where they could coexist and somehow develop like a Saints type offense, even if it's where Jalen even has more incorporation than Taysom Hill does, I would have no issue with it, because it would be a different dynamic, something that really no team has ever done before. If you bring something like that into the NFL, to a more of an extent than the Saints do. Like, I won't have that issue, but it's really going to come up to, most likely at this point, I don't think 4 games is a big enough sample size, and I think it's going to lead to a quarterback competition no matter what. And I think and it's going to really come down to ultimately Doug and whoever's in the front office to make the decision next year.
My other thing was too, like, I thought this season was a wash right after that Giants loss, pretty much. Like, I'm not saying it. I said if they win tomorrow, or yesterday, I said that too, though, like when it was the day before. I'm back in probably because they just beat 2 of the top teams. They got 2 division games. 2 division games are going to pull you right back in, and you're going to make the playoffs if you would have won 4 straight. Because I thought it was a real possibility. It turns out it was a real possibility. I thought I was going to look like a clown yesterday for my prediction. But no, they fall till the end. Jalen showed great characteristic and leadership. But my thing was, I was fine with sitting Wentz. I was. But at the same time, and there's other people I know that are, you might as well see what you got with the kid because you drafted him, right? But I was arguing with people. I'm like, have other teams really done this, though? Maybe they put their backup in, but Jalen wasn't really supposed to be a backup. He's a rookie. He played at a high level of college last year. Like all the other QBs that got drafted. So clearly you're thinking this kid probably, if he would have got drafted somewhere else, he might have played or been somewhere where their QB was like a fringe starter and would have eventually taken over. That wasn't the case here originally. We all thought Wentz was the starter, even the Wentz haters. You can say what they want. You know what I mean? You thought, and you bring this kid in, you want to see what you have with him. But it's like there's been quarterbacks. Now, I'm not even getting into it, but they've been bad in year 5, but those teams still rode through that season with their QB. The Eagles didn't ride through their season with Wentz. So I feel like it's pretty much an announced decision that Hurts is going to be the starter. That's why I wanted to ask you, is their Hurts era officially underway? You know, people are already announcing it. You don't seem to believe that. I don't know what I believe yet. I guess
I don't think it is.
It does the next 2 games.
Yeah, I think it's definitely big dependent upon the next 2 games. No matter, we could get kicked out next week if Washington beats Carolina, but I think no matter what, Jalen has to play both games, and you have to play it out just to see what you have. And even if you end up doing like half and half, like give Jalen, even that week 17, give Jalen the first half, give Carson the second half. Just get one last dip of what you have from each player. But I think just because of the sample size of only 4 games of Jalen playing, I don't think you can just, as a franchise as a whole, even if they believe that he's the guy, I don't think you can just say, okay, we're not even giving Carson a chance after 5 seasons. You know what I mean? Especially and not even with the contract that he's on, and we get that they might just say fuck it and take the cap hit. I think it's more of like a respect type thing, and it's when you, especially with what he did, like even people say 2017, blah blah blah, what he did last season, like it's a respect thing. You're not just going to dump him like it was nothing. But then there's also the other hand where you're looking at it and you're thinking, as a franchise, you did use your 2nd round pick on a quarterback. So, like, maybe it could start the Hurts era, because you don't want to sit here and hear the fan base say you wasted your 2nd round pick for the next 10 years. But it really depends, because I think the first thing that's going to happen is I think the front office is going to get shaken up to begin with. And you never know, some GM could come in that could completely change it and say, nah, Carson's the guy.
Yeah, and I feel like didn't even put this in my notes, but I feel like I'm finally I'm okay with the Hurts pick, especially after these 2 games. He started, we had struggles with Wentz, so maybe this guy's the guy going forward. I'm fine with that. Like I said, I'm an Eagles fan first. I'm going to support whoever the QB is every week, week in, week out. Could be Nate Sudfeld. I'm going to support him. But if Jalen even wins the next 2 games, or if he loses, let's say the defense plays horrible, he loses in high scoring affairs. Doubt that's going to be the case against Washington. Could maybe be the case against the Cowboys. You never know. It could be like this past week's game. Does he save? I'm fine with Doug. I feel like now Doug still really does make a lot of stupid decisions. I'm not the biggest Doug guy. I said I was wrong about him after we won. Apologize for that. Now I'm back on some fringe with him because he still makes a lot of stupid play calls. You even saw it yesterday. Some of his play calls, you're like thinking like on 3rd and 1s and just all you need is a few yards, and he's making these mind-boggling play calls, and you're like, dude, like, yeah, Hurts looks good, but like, could Hurts be better with somebody else?
Exactly.
Same with Wentz, you know, like one or the other. Like, I mean, Hurts has looked better, obviously, especially some more looking like Doug was fine all along, and Hurts has made him look better, but still, like, even Hurts could do some like. Could just be like, I feel like almost perfect throughout a game the way this idiot calls games sometimes. I'm fine with Doug staying, but it's like, does this dude save Howie's job? Because now Howie was like, but it doesn't make sense regardless because you just handed Carson a contract and drafted him. So it's like you put yourself in that predicament. Like you gave out a bad contract or what could be a bad contract, and you drafted a QB or your second round who could potentially now be your new franchise guy. It could be the Hurts era very well. Whatever. That's fine. And another thing is, too, let me ask you this. Just hit them all at once. So would trading Carson and giving Jalen the starting job next year, let him roll through all 2021, we'll deal with the cap space situations, I guess, this year, whatever else. We'll eat some dead cap with Carson. But then 2022 hits, and you compete, and you rebuild, and then you compete because you're going to have $81 million actually in cap space then. And then if you have Carson, you have guys like Reagor. Let's say Reagor's going to be better maybe this year. Hopefully now at this point, because I think Washington's not losing, don't win these games. I know Hurts is going to try to win these games. It's fine. I want him to play good, but it's like, don't even win these games. Let's go out there. Let's get a Devontae Smith. Let's get a Micah Parsons. Let's get a Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I completely agree with you.
That will step up the rebuild if we get a player who can come in, either give you 1,000 yards receiving and maybe 8 touchdowns, or a linebacker who can come in and I don't even know how many tackles to expect from that dude. Maybe a few interceptions, a few sacks. Like he's just a freak. Like who knows? We need that. I don't need them to even show me to make playoffs now. It's not worth it. I'm convinced even if they did, they could maybe win that first round with the way they just played the Saints and the way they just played the Cardinals, who were both playoff teams.
Yeah. I just think they really need to be sure that Jalen's the guy. Because like you said, you trade Carson away, you hit that cap, you take the cap hit, and then you even still, you have to use at least 1 year to most likely rebuild. So then you do that. What if Jalen ends up not being the guy? You know what I mean? You're out Carson, you're out Jalen, and now you have to use a draft pick or money to go get a legit quarterback again. So I don't know. That's my biggest thing. I think why they're not going to just let Carson go like it's nothing, because I think they don't want to make themselves look stupid even more than they already have, and they want to make sure that they know that that he's 100% going to be that dude. You know what I mean? But I think there's a lot that's going to come in the offseason. I think we're going to have one of the longest off seasons as a team, just most stressful. But who knows? I think bouncing off of that, I think another team that is coming into play in Philadelphia is definitely the Sixers. They open up this Wednesday, the 23rd, versus the Wizards to start the season. Big hype. They started off, they had 2 preseason games with a win, a 108-99 win over the Celtics and a 113-107 win over the Pacers. Preseason, but they looked good in many different facets. So basically just what'd you see from the preseason? Positives. There's definitely a few negative players, definitely a few things that I want to see develop over the season. But what are you expecting from this season?
I think we're going to be a top 3 seed in the East. I don't know if that's saying much. I think it is, because usually we're like projected to be higher, but I feel like the last few years we're just falling like middle, like 4 or 5. I don't think 6, but maybe 6 actually. We're just like we're not where we should be. And I feel like finally you fire Brett, you add some pieces like we talked about, Danny Green, Dwight Howard, Seth Curry, you add some shooters, more spacing on the floor. The ball movement should be crazy. Spacing on the floor should be crazy. You add a great coach. He's one of the best coaches in the league. He's probably top 5. If not, he's up there regardless. He has an NBA championship too. He's worked with superstar caliber players all throughout his coaching career.
Yep.
I think this team's finally I don't want to say we're going to win, but it's like the Warriors. They had Mark Jackson. They were like fringe, like right there that whole entire time. They weren't winning, though. They weren't getting to the finals. They fire him. They bring in Steve Kerr. People can say what they want. They can call Steve overrated, but they get there and they win a couple. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we're going to win a couple, maybe not even win one, but there's a lot of factors that play into it. And I think the new coaching, for sure, offense is going to be solely focused around Embiid. And he looks healthy. He looks fit. He looks ready.
Yeah.
You're going to have Ben locking up whoever. You're going to have Ben dishing dimes all day. Hopefully Ben's scoring a lot. Like, give me 20 points a night. Like, we've been saying 20, but give me 20 to 25, not like a fringe like 15, 20, and some nights like 10 here and there. No, like I want 20, Ben. I want 20 from you a night, 18 at the least. And I want, 8 to 10 assists. And I want you locking up the best player. I know you're going to get your rebounds, but lock up the best player on another team or contain them. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know how many wins are in the book for them this year, but I got them at least I got Bucks up there, Heat up there, and us top 3 seeds.
Yeah.
Kind of not really going on back what I said. I still think the Nets are scary. They're just unknown. I don't know what they'll look like, but I think they're right there too. So I don't care.
Absolutely. I think, yeah. I mean, from what I saw out of those 2 games was definitely a more healthy, more dominant Joel. I think the biggest reason for it is having Seth and Danny, just having him on the perimeter, he's not getting double teamed this much. And I understand it was only 2 games, but he's not. So he's being able to just absolutely manhandle, and there's nobody in the league that can just stop him one-on-one, no matter what. No. When it comes to Ben, I mean, he's going, like you said, he's going to get his rebounds. He needs to be hitting that almost triple double with 18, 20 points a game. That needs to be his standpoint. And if he's doing that, then more than likely the rest of the team is getting their work in as well strictly because of what he's developing and creating the offense to do. I think another big thing is, for sure, there's other shooters outside of Seth and Danny. Like Furkan looked great. I think in 2 games, he went 5 for 9 from 3. Tyrese Maxey could end up being him or Tyrese Halliburton. I think one of those 2 are going to end up being the steal of the draft. I think Halliburton ended up falling to 12, and we ended up getting Maxey at 20. I think Maxey has 19 points on 8 for 12 shooting in the first 2 games. And then Dwight and Shake, I think, are both going to be huge role players. I think Dwight's a solid backup, and Shake can easily take. Well, he had one of the best 3-point percentage shooting in the league last year. Yeah. I think 2 negatives that I'm definitely pulling out is Tobias needs to figure out who he is in this offense. I think he had he averaged 11 points within the 2 games. I think he had 6 in one and 17 or 16 in the other. I think he just needs to figure out who he is with Doc. I think there's a lot of work.
Well, I think last game was more. It seems like it was more like everybody else. He didn't need to take on a big load. And the Celtics game, they looked good that night. It's preseason, take it for what it is. Yeah. But he had 16 points, something like that. Yeah. He was balling. He's the X factor, no doubt, in this offense. Yeah. Probably does need to figure out who he is a little bit because he's been used so differently since he's been here. Mm-hmm. Doc is going to use him right. He's going to be the X factor, though. That's the main thing. And there's going to be those nights he's going to go for 30. And then there might be those nights he disappears and he might only get 10 points. Sucks to say that because you want him to be at 20 a night, which I think he's going to be this year. He's going to be at a solid 18, 20.
I just think he's make or break if they make a move at the trade deadline or not.
Yeah.
Him specifically does he become that star 3 or does he cause them to make a move and move him? You know what I mean?
I really want him to be that star 3. I'm a big Toby guy. I'm going to bite off what my boy Squally says. He's like a poor man's Melo. You watch his game, he's fluent. Everything he does, similar play styles. Clean. Just like he said, poor man Melo. Obviously not going to score as much. He's not going to be he's not a jack, but that's what he's going to be. He's going to get, like I say before, he's going to create his own shot, can hit the 3 here and there. His D's average, but he's good. I think I'm hoping this year. I think this year's his year. He gets it done. He becomes like a 20 point per game scorer, and I love it. I love it. If not, hopefully, if it's make or break, they get a Zach LaVine at the All-Star.
Yeah. I mean, like as of right now, like with the developing of Maxey, and then if Tobias could end up being that guy, and if Furkan keeps shooting the way he does,
Don't bank on
the
this
odd man
guy.
out's Thibault. Matisse,
Thibault.
he has 1 point. He had 1 point in 2 games. His defense didn't look the same as it did last season, but I mean, I still think he can be that solid number 2 best, maybe 3rd best defender on the team. Can still lock up those solid players, but on the offensive end, it doesn't look like he worked on it on the offseason at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, he needs to be a 3-and-D guy. Like Danny Green's 3-and-D. Danny Green might get you like a layup here and there or hit like something in the mid-range, but he's shooting that 3 ball. He's going to shoot that 3 ball. Same with Seth.
Yep.
You're going to shoot that 3 ball. Seth ain't a 3-and-D guy. And by no means he's catch and shoot, hits the 3, get you hopefully he's around like 10 points a game, maybe more. I don't know. Maybe this year it's more because he's going to get a lot of open looks. But Thibault is not even you're probably going to have Dwight off the bench first. You're going to have Shake. It's going to be them two no matter what.
Yeah.
And that 3rd spot, probably be Mike Scott.
Or Furkan.
No, that's what I was about to say. Mike Scott, Maxey, Furk. And I guess you can throw Matisse in there fighting for that spot, but no way. And I'm probably playing Maxey over all of them guys, all 3 of them, because I want my first-round pick to play. What I saw from him in preseason, the highlights and everything in the game, I like what I saw. He looked good. Like I said, I think this kid might be like not jack up the 3 ball and hit it at a high level like Tyler Herro. You know how he's like hitting those threes and shit like crazy down there in Miami?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be that, but he's going to get you points. He's going to get you, and he might score at the same level, but I don't think he's going to be jacking that 3 up as much. But that's
and
what I
give the
want
young guy the time.
I think I want Maxey to be my 3rd guy off the bench, honestly. And I think can him and Shake be a crazy duo for us off the bench this year? Yeah. And I think yes, they're both young, so we might hit some woes with them. I think Shake's going to come into more of his own this year. Hot take. Shake's going to be in the running for, I guess, what he technically, because I don't know how the rotation works or how it would be technically in the running for 6th man of the year, honestly. I'm going to put him up there. I think he's going to be scoring a lot. That's a hot take.
I think, especially if he's the number 1 man off the bench, absolutely. If he can be like a mini Lou Will, something like that, like, that's perfect. And then, like, with Maxey, just, like, give the young guy the time, man.
I still want that. Like, I wish we could have, like, Lou Will back or I still think we need, like, a traditional PG or some vet for this team, but I like where we're at right now. I think the recipe we have is chip bound. Maybe you add another player somewhere in there, whether it's a decent player or a high caliber player. And they said, I remember, I don't even care about the Harden rumors at all anymore, but they said like Matisse is off limits. He is not off limits to me, man. He's movable.
Definitely.
I know you got to wait with your young guys sometimes, but I'm not waiting anymore. Process is over. We're ready to win now, baby. I'm not waiting for these young guys. Maxey's ready. He's getting it in every day. He's in the gym. You see it. Is it also a Kentucky product? You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's not comparable, but kid's in the gym working hard. He's grinding. He's going to be a baller. He's going to be a stud. Might be the steal of the draft. John Cal said he's like teams are going to regret passing on him. And I think, honestly, for once, being a Philly fan, hearing that, great to hear.
Oh, yeah, and you never hear that coming out of this city, out of the draft. You never get a steal.
We're always the ones regretting it. Yeah.
Either regretting it or getting lucky, something like that. But, I mean, so I guess like this, next week we'll have a sample size of 4 games. Within next week, the Sixers are going to play 4 games. So for the podcast next week, we'll have 4 games to talk about how the team looked. And, I mean, that's enough to see who they play. They play the Wizards. They play the Celtics, the Knicks, and I think they play the Raptors as well. So that should be – It's a good 4-game start. It's not going to be a difficult season for sure because the teams in the East are just getting better. But to move on from that, we're going to do something a little different this week. We're going to do something that so we wanted to do something more of like a Christmas special type thing. We didn't have much time due to just, Christmas obligations and COVID, things like that. We didn't get to do the full special, but what we are able to do is mine and Blake's specific wish list for the 4 major Philadelphia teams that basically we want to see now or within the near future our team to do or make happen, I guess. So, I mean, easily to start, Eagles have to be the first team we talk about just based off of the season we're in. So what do you want what's your wish from the Philadelphia Eagles, Blake?
All right, I feel like mine and yours might be similar, just on this one alone.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to ask you first, because if it's very similar, I'll change mine. I have it on the top of my head, and then after that, we can go to me.
Okay.
For every topic to start.
So, I mean, I think number one thing for me is to fire Howie.
Okay.
And give or take, sign an offensive coordinator. It's going to all depend on what they do with Doug. And then depending on what they do in the draft. But I think my biggest thing is just because of the guy that I am and who I've been supporting, I'm not going to back out now. I think what I want is if they decide to get rid of Wentz, I would send him somewhere where he's going to succeed. Like, this dude just gave you 5 years, his first 5 years of his career, and basically played his heart out in my eyes and played unbelievable. Played out of his mind 2017, was playing very good 2018 until he got hurt, and then brought you to the playoffs last season. So my biggest thing is send him somewhere if you're going to trade him away where he can succeed. That's my biggest thing.
All right, so I thought it was going to be more similar than that, but you mentioned him. So this one was a tough one for me to decide because, I want to see Howie going. That probably is the top of the wish list.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've accepted the fact way before back the Packers game that this is what's going to be with Hurts. He's going to be starting probably the rest of the season. We're going to see what we have. Completely fine with that. Like I said, he's our QB going forward. Don't hate the kid. I'm not against him. I'm actually a Bama fan. I didn't like him at Bama. I liked him at OU. So I'm not gonna knock him. I don't hate him. I didn't think he was gonna be nothing in the NFL personally, but hey, we're all wrong at some point about sports. We're not pros on this. Everybody's wrong, even analysts. So far I'm wrong about him. So I'm fine with him if he's our guy moving forward. But my wish personally, and this is because, I'm a big Carson lover. I want to see Carson get another shot. I want him and Doug to be able to work it out together. Like Doug said, I'm married to him. I want to fix this. Well, clearly it doesn't really seem like that anymore. But I want to see that, and I want to see them work it out together. Yeah, bring in an OC if it helps. Stop making him a pocket passer, man. You game plan for Hurts so well. You game plan for all your backups so well. Maybe it falls on Carson there. But at the same time, even D. Gunn was saying it on the pregame show the other day. Who said Carson Wentz is a pocket passer? He's not a pocket passer.
No, nobody.
He's not at all. You see it with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts isn't a pocket passer. You don't use Jalen Hurts in the pocket. Use him some plays. That's normal. I want to see them get back. If so be it. If it's an open competition and he loses square out or fair out, whatever, trade him now. Hurts is our guy. But I want to see Carson take back his spot in an open competition. I want to see him get back to either 2017 Wentz. Usually I don't hold on to 2017 like the rest of people do. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with last year's Wentz, 10 this season. Yeah, you can say you play trash teams, but this is the NFL. No wins easy in the NFL, baby.
Look at the Jets just beat the Rams.
Literally, and just ruin their chances of getting Trevor Lawrence, even though I don't think Sam Darnold's bad. But so I want to see Wentz get back to the end of last year, even though I would have liked to see more explosiveness from them last year, but the offense was so limited. It was poop. So, weapons weren't there. Like, at least there's been more. Like, Miles has been better this year. Goddard has been, he hasn't been involved as much. Ertz is usually, he was hurt. He's more better. But just want to see Wentz get back to that level, man. I want to see him get back to the level where it's like, You go into that game and you're like thinking to yourself, I got this QB. I can win this game no matter how trash my defense is. That's what I want. That's my wish. That's my dying wish right now. I don't care. Call me a Wentz lover. Not a Hurts hater. I love the kid as well. I'm going to support whoever, but that's my wish. I'll move off of it if he's out. Or if there's no open comp and they say Hurts is my starter, I'll get off of it. I'll change my wish. I don't care.
Absolutely.
That's my wish right now.
Like I posted on Facebook, there is a world out there where we can like Carson Wentz and also hope that Jalen Hurts succeeds.
Doesn't seem that way for the other side, though.
Doesn't seem that way for only the Jalen Hurts lovers as of right now, but we'll hopefully get there. So then moving on to the Phillies. For me, I think for me and you both, obviously signing JT is our number one wish. That's without even being talked about. That's number one, has to be done. Or the whole city of Philadelphia will be pissed, including Bryce Harper. Outside of that, show me a goddamn playoff appearance since 2011. We haven't been to the playoffs since 2011, and they have given me nothing to be happy about. But I think the only way they get there is by their offense was fine. The bullpen single-handedly lost them probably almost 10 games last season. They only missed the playoffs by one game.
No, it lost
by
them
one game.
It lost them more than 10 games probably because how many games did they play again last year? Like, was it 40 or 50 or was it 60?
62.
62? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They led in like 48 of those games.
Mm-hmm.
The bullpen needs to go. There's no way, knock on wood, there's no way the bullpen can be worse than it was this past year. So my wish was to re-sign GT. It's my favorite player. He plays my favorite position. To have another catcher, I love Chooch, but this guy's better than Chooch. This guy's better than any catcher we had in the past 20 years. We had some good catchers. But no, this guy is a step above everybody. In my opinion, he's the best at his position in baseball. He's probably a top 10 player overall in baseball, in my opinion. Just because, like, if we go up position alone and who's the best at each. But you got to re-sign him, dude. You gave up Sixto. I say it all the time. You got to re-sign him. That is priority number one. We don't have to worry about him going to the Mets. I don't even know if they can be on him, but hopefully the Braves can't be in on him because if the Braves get him, they're going to the World Series.
People are saying they could be.
And that would be scary because
that would be scary.
I hate them. I hate the Mets more. I always will hate the Mets. But God, if he goes there, they might go right to the top.
Just tick. I'm waiting for Dave Dombrowski to fucking do something.
Yeah. But I don't even think about playoff appearance. We need that.
We need that. You just need the experience. These young guys, you say these young dudes that we have, like Baum and stuff, like they need that playoff experience. Like Bryce Harper's not going to stay here forever if they don't even show him the playoff, give him a lick of the playoffs. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I think the pen will be better or get better. So like I'm not really adding that to my wish list because I feel like that's just a known fact. Like they have to know that in the front office that the pen has to be better. Unless your name's Matt Klentak, who you just go off analytics and you're like, well, he's pitching good. He's at a high velocity. This is just not getting – no, shut up, dude. Get out of here. So my wish list, it's re-sign JT. That's known. Everybody in Philly. This dude had more fans from the pandemic than he did down in Miami. He wants to be here. I never thought a player – because, people love cities and they fall in love. This man genuinely does want to be here. Yeah, he wants to be in Philly. He wants to get it done. Bryce Harper's your star player. He's probably arguably the biggest athlete in the city. He wants him back. Listen to your goddamn star. Get him back. Bring him the hell back. What are you doing? But my other wish, screw the pen. Give me Frankie Lindor. The shortstop, I don't know if Didi's back. Stott ain't ready. Trade Stott out. Bring me Lindor, re-sign JT. Let's get these bats rolling. Get us to playoffs. That's all I need to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to say the bullpen because this is a really big – I mean, definitely huge. I would take Lindor in a heartbeat. But, like, right now, this offseason for free agent bullpen arms is unbelievable. It's a great – you have dudes like Liam Hendricks, Kirby Yates, Brad Hand, Roberto Osuna, Joakim Sora. Like, there's an unbelievable amount of bullpen arms that even if you just sign one of those dudes to make your starter and keep Hector Neris as your setup man, you're light years better than you were last season. So outside of JT, and then outside of obviously getting me the playoff appearance, my number one wish list would be to make that bullpen better, please. And then, so moving on from that, a team that may be more privy, obviously more playoff ready, is the Flyers. I think they're probably the most playoff ready team based off of previous season, the most playoff ready team that we have in Philly right now, depending where you go with it. But starting on January 13th, season starts, 56-game season. So you're more of the Flyers guy. So I'm going to ask you first, what are your wishes for the Flyers?
I want to make the conference finals. Maybe the cup. Am I asking too much? Maybe. I can die a happy man when they win a cup. That's what I want to see, a legitimate cup run. I think it will happen. We're playing the toughest division in hockey, especially this year. You add Boston.
The realignment, yeah.
Are you kidding me? You add Boston. Like, Boston's a known quantity every year. They're great. They're great. Team's scary good and up there in Massachusetts. I still think we're better than 75-80% of our division. I think we're better than Washington. We got their number. Prayers to them too. More prayers to Hank, because Henrik Lundqvist, I think it was a heart condition or something, or some type of condition.
He had to opt out. Yeah,
he's not able to go through the season. His career's probably done. I hate the Rangers. That's where he's played his whole career. But he's a classy guy. So I'm always going to show my respect to players no matter what team they're on. Hopefully he gets better, and hopefully in a year he can make a comeback, even though he's older. I think he's right around 40s or late 30s. So, but I think we're better than Washington. I think we're better than Pittsburgh, but I never sleep on them. People sleep on them every year, and they're good every year. Like, I'm not sleeping on Pitt. They got rid of Matt Murray. Dude he won 2 cups with you guys. He was young as hell. He's still a young goaltender. Overrated, but he's good. And they lost him. And Tristan Jarry looks like he took his spot. Don't know where he came from. He was good last year. He's my main concern. If he's good and as good as what he was last year, Pitt probably might – they're on par with us. They're probably better or not, like a slight notch down. So I think we're better than everybody else. We're better than the Devils. We're better than the Rags. We're better than Washington. I'm trying to think about Columbus in our division. I don't think they are.
No, they moved out.
We're better than Carolina. Carolina's in there, but they're good. Carolina's good. Not sleeping on them. They play a good team game. They're young. I think the real only piece they're missing is a goaltender, which is what we were missing for the past 30 years. Exactly. That's why I think we're capable of going to the cup. Your goaltender gets hot, you can go to the cup. You saw it with Hart. Hart won us. Yeah. We did not play a complete game in playoffs last year.
There's no shot we even should have went to Game 7 with the Islanders.
We should have lost to the Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
We should have. People can disagree with that statement. No, I watched that whole series, and it's nothing against the Habs. They were a sleeper team. They beat Pittsburgh in that like little play-in round to get into the legitimate playoff.
Yeah.
And then they give us a run for our money, and they played an ugly, brutal game, and they have one of the best goaltenders in all of hockey, and Carey Price, who can kill you. And you got to get ugly goals, and we got ugly goals. We won. So maybe in theory we were the better team, but we showed a lot of resistance against the Islanders too. I mean, they're good. They had our number. So I don't know what to expect when we play them. But I want to see Eastern Conference Final, Stanley Cup. Maybe I'm shooting for the stars, but you brought Moose back. You got Hart. Hart should be more ready this year. We finally got our franchise goalie. I'm fucking ready, dude. I'm going to be fired up. I cannot wait for January 13th. I hope this COVID vaccine goes through. Everybody gets it, and I hope we can get in the stadiums because I don't care how much I got to pay. I'm going and watching them. Same with the Sixers, but I will be at the Wells rocking, and I cannot wait.
What a normal season's 82 games, right?
Yeah.
So now that you're playing 56, we definitely have to win those close games.
We have to win.
You have to win those close games. Probably got to win at least 35 games.
And we got the goalie.
Get you a top seed. I think my biggest wish for them is, obviously, a lot more. My biggest wish obviously would be the same, as to get a cup. Any championship in the city of Philadelphia is a dying wish for any of us. But my biggest thing is they single-handedly could have went to the finals last season just based off of the power play. If they would have been just double what they were on the power play in the playoffs last season. So my biggest thing is if they can work on outside. My biggest wish is to be better on the power play outside of the first line. So obviously the first line's always set up, but anytime the first line's off the ice, the team looks lost. So that's mine. Outside of a championship, we know it's coming.
It's not going to happen, but I think he's a free agent. They had a guy like Mike Hoffman. He's a good sniper, can score. Mm-hmm. He's not elite by any means, but you're talking about he can get you 30 goals a year and snipe the puck real well and get to the gritty areas, score. I'll take him if they can figure out a way to sign him or make a move for him, because I think I see rumors linked. Like, it might be all clickbait, or if they can still make that trade for Patrick Laine, because if you add that guy or you add Hoffman, your power play will be better because you have TK. TK can snipe the puck, but he's too inconsistent, man. Like, I like him. He's going to get you 30 goals. He's going to be maybe some years a point-per-game player, some years maybe just 60-something points, and I'm fine with that. And he'll probably score more goals than he'll be assisting the majority of those years because he has a nice shot. Yeah. He needs to be more consistent, though, and that's what they need, because Giroux can snipe sometimes, but he doesn't snipe all the time. He doesn't hit 30 goals. He hit it once in his career.
He has the assists, though.
He's usually over 20. He's a good power play setup man, though. He gets on that corner like Ovi. He can score from there. He can control the whole power play from there. And you got Provy, and I don't know what's good with Ghost, so I'm going to say probably adding Gustafson on that power play line, or they run four in a D, and you got Jake, Coots, and I'm going to say Kevin Hayes probably run those four, and two big bodies in the middle with Kevin Hayes and Coots, and then you got your outside guys. And Voracek's the same thing as Giroux. He's like a lesser Giroux. Mm-hmm. He can score when he wants sometimes, but his shot's just not there. It never translated to the league because he was drafted as a sniper, but he became a playmaker in the league because he couldn't snipe in the league. So they need to add somebody, or somebody really needs to step their shit up come playoff time, and they need to start scoring, because that's what happened with Boston in that 2011 Stanley Cup run. After they came back, they swept us. They had Patrice Bergeron sniping. They had David Krejci sniping. They had Brad Marchand sniping. I said David Krejci, right? Sniping. You know what I mean? You have all these guys. They're coming in. They're putting up 10 goals in a playoff run. That's incredible. You need that from your guys. You need that. We have depth. Got to get that going. So let's get on with it.
So like I said, January 13th, season starts. Be ready. And then the last team of the city are Sixers. Obviously, I think our dying wish is to get past the second round. Both can agree on that. That's the biggest thing. But my wish is that Doc can do something that Brett couldn't do, and that's develop a real game plan that centers around whether it's Embiid and Simmons when they're on the floor together, or when Embiid's on the floor by himself, or when Simmons is on the floor by himself. You need to have a game plan ready, set up for them. Strictly for them, because they are your star players, and that needs to be priority. You know, they're going to be the ones that take you to the finals or take you to the Eastern Conference Finals. If they're not playing, we're not getting there. So you need to develop your game plan to their best abilities, and if not, then the team's just going to get stuck in the second round again or get swept in the first round like we did against Boston this past season. But that's what I got. That needs to be main priority, and that's just facts.
Yeah, I literally honestly just put get past the second round. It's kind of similar to the Flyers, but the Flyers haven't been there every year lately. Go into the playoffs, maybe win a series, get bounced, lose off some crazy shit, goddamn quadruple doink or whatever the fuck you want to say. But yeah, I'm tired of getting the playoffs and being let down every year. Because honestly, last year I really thought with Jay Rich, Toby, all the length and size, Al Horford, I really thought we probably could have actually legitimately made a finals push. Brett didn't figure it out. That's bottom line. Because I think Al Horford, watch, he'll go off and he'll play good somewhere. Josh Richardson, he just really didn't fit. But I think you could have had something with Al here. And I know the cap situation sucked and what you signed him to. But so I would like to see them really get past the second round. If I told you my dream scenario, I've said it since the rumors came out, this would be my wish. It would be for James Harden to be here in a dream scenario where we keep Ben and Joe, though.
Ben and JoJo.
And maybe that doesn't win you a finals because you have three guys running the team, and it sucks. But that's my dream scenario: is them three to be together, them three doing their thing, Ben feeding Joe and Harden. Harden knocking the three as much as he can at a high rate, getting to the foul line as much as he can. Dude can play make the same way. He can take over a game, get you a bucket, and then you got a big who can take on anybody one-on-one. That star power would be incredible. There's no way you don't get to the finals with that team.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So, I mean, that's our wishes. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll come true. Maybe we'll get lucky. But outside of that, I think that's what we have for the week. Next week, we'll have a lot more content. We'll have another Eagles game. We'll have 4 Sixers games, maybe a little more development with the Flyers.
Hey, it's a big week for football still because you know what fucking week it is, baby. It's Eagles-Cowboys. You know what that means. I don't even got to say anything else.
Even if it means nothing.
It's Dalton Hurts. It's not Wentz Dak anymore. It's Dalton Hurts. Let's get hype.
Crazy. Yes, sir.
Don't want to spank them idiots.
Yeah, always, always, always. So one last thing. Shout out Heart of Philly. Hit him up, Shane Gray, Instagram. Let him know what you need. He'll make you anything you want. Shout out Death by Bananas 3, Derek Galvin. Hit him up. YouTube, Facebook. Best Warzone player in the city, in the country, anywhere. Hit him up. Follow him. Subscribe. He'll hit us up on the stream too. So I think that's all we got for this week. Anything from me? Nothing. Anything from you, Blake?
No, that's it, man. You covered it. Everybody have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Stay safe. If you're with your family, be mindful, please. You know what I mean? If you don't feel good, don't be going and spreading that shit, all right? You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and advocate and get all crazy and political, but just stay safe. Don't be spreading the virus. If you feel sick, stay home.
Sure.
But if you go and hang out with your family, have a good time. You know, cherish these moments and don't take them for granted. You know what I mean? Have a good holiday. So peace out, and we'll see you next week. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Don't forget, share and subscribe. Peace.